Chapter 1. The Whispering Grove. It was a peculiar day, the kind that felt brimming with possibilities, yet Alice found herself sitting on the old wooden swing in her backyard, staring at the sky as clouds drifted lazily above. The air was thick with the scent of blooming jasmine, and while the sun played hide-and-seek with the leaves, Alice could hardly shake the feeling of restlessness that had settled over her like a heavy blanket. She had just returned from another tedious day at school, where the lessons seemed to float past her like the very clouds she admired. "Why must everything be so dull?" she muttered softly to herself, twirling a lock of her chestnut hair around her finger. Glancing at the familiar oak tree that stood sentinel at the edge of her yard, she felt a sudden urge to explore its secrets. It loomed above her, ancient and majestic, its branches twisting like the stories that lived only in her imagination. There was something about that tree, something almost inviting. Just then a gentle rustle caught her attention. A small fox with a coat as red as autumn leaves peeked out from behind the tree, its curious eyes glimmering with mischief. Alice blinked, half expecting the creature to vanish as quickly as it had appeared, but the fox merely tilted its head, as though beckoning her to follow. Intrigued, she hesitated only a moment before slipping off the swing and stepping into the cool shade of the oak. The world outside felt suddenly muted, as if she had crossed a threshold into a realm where time slowed down and the extraordinary awaited her. The fox darted forward, pausing now and then to glance back, ensuring that Alice was still in tow. "Where are you leading me?" she whispered, her heart racing with a mix of excitement and apprehension. But the fox, of course, did not answer. Instead, it led her deeper into the grove, where the sunlight flickered like stars through the leaves, creating patterns that danced on the ground. Alice felt as if she had stepped into a painting, an enchanted world where the ordinary rules of life seemed to dissolve. She trod carefully, her senses heightened, aware of the soft crunch of leaves underfoot and the gentle whisper of the wind as it wove through the branches. As they wandered further, the air thickened with a sense of magic, and Alice couldn't shake the feeling that something remarkable was just beyond her reach. The fox led her to a small clearing encircled by wildflowers that glowed with an ethereal light. In the center stood an ancient stone well, its surface covered in moss and ivy, as if it had been forgotten by time itself. Alice approached cautiously, peering into the well's depths. The darkness below seemed to swirl, and for a fleeting moment she thought she saw glimmers of light flicker like fireflies. "What secrets do you hold?" she wondered aloud, leaning closer, her heart pounding with curiosity. Suddenly, the fox gave a small yip, startling her, and she took a step back. Its eyes sparkled knowingly, as if urging her to make a choice. Was she brave enough to discover what lay within? Or would she remain forever on the cusp of adventure, held back by the fear of the unknown? With a deep breath, Alice reached out, her fingers brushing against the cool stone. "I'm ready," she declared, her voice steady. And in that moment, the world around her shifted, as if the very fabric of reality had begun to unravel, revealing a path that only she could follow. As Alice stood before the stone well, the cool breeze whispered promises of secrets long held within its depths. The air shimmered with a golden light, and the scent of wildflowers danced around her, drawing her closer to the edge of the well. The fox, its amber eyes glinting with mischief and wisdom, tilted its head as if urging her to take the leap. "Do you hear that?" Alice asked, her heart racing with a mix of excitement and uncertainty. To her surprise, the fox nodded, its ears perked up. The sound of distant laughter and soft music floated on the air, pulling Alice's spirit like a shimmering thread woven into the fabric of the grove. Taking a deep breath, she leaned over the well's edge, peering into the shadowy depths. The stone walls glistened with moisture, and she could barely make out a faint glow at the bottom. "What if I fall?" she murmured, more to herself than to the fox. "Then you shall fly," the fox replied, its voice melodic and comforting, though it seemed to come from every direction at once. "Adventure is a leap of faith, dear Alice." With a heart thumping like a drum, Alice closed her eyes, imagining a world filled with vibrant colors and magical wonders. She grasped the rough stone edge, ready to let go of her fears. Just then the laughter grew louder, swirling around her like a gentle breeze, beckoning her to dive into the unknown. "Okay, here I go," Alice declared, determination flooding her veins. She stepped back for a moment, then ran forward, launching herself into the air. For a heartbeat, she felt weightless, the world around her dissolving into a kaleidoscope of light and sound. Then, with a soft thud, she landed on a lush carpet of moss, surrounded by a breathtaking scene. Alice blinked in wonder. She found herself in a vibrant forest, unlike anything she had ever seen. Trees towered above, their trunks woven with sparkling vines, while flowers with luminescent petals danced gently in the breeze. Enchanted creatures flitted about, tiny fairies with wings like stained glass, and rabbits wearing spectacles, reading books under the shade of the colossal ferns. "Welcome to Eldrida," a cheerful voice sang out. Alice turned to see a plump, round fairy with rosy cheeks and a crown of daisies perched atop her head. "I'm Pippin, keeper of the Grove of Whispers. We've been waiting for you." "Waiting for me?" Alice echoed, astonished. Her heart swelled with joy at the thought that she was meant to be here. "But how do you know me?" "We know many things, dear girl." Pippin winked, her laughter bubbling like a brook. "You seek adventure, and the Whispering Grove has chosen you as its new guardian." Alice's eyes widened. "Guardian?" "But I'm just a girl from the backyard." Pippin floated closer, her wings shimmering. "Ah, but every great story needs a hero, and every hero starts as a simple soul with a dream. Now that you're here, it's time for you to discover your purpose." Before Alice could process Pippin's words, the fox appeared at her side, his eyes gleaming with encouragement. "This is your chance, Alice. The grove needs someone brave to help protect its magic from the shadows that threaten to encroach. Will you answer the call?" Alice took a moment to gather her thoughts. She had spent so long feeling restless and stuck. Now, standing in a world of wonder, a spark of courage ignited within her. "I will," she declared, her voice steady and resolute. "What do I need to do?" "Follow me," Pippin chirped, darting ahead while the fox trotted alongside Alice. "We have much to show you, and the first lesson is about the power of belief." As they ventured deeper into Eldrida, Alice felt the weight of her old life slipping away. She was more than just a girl with dreams. She was now part of an extraordinary tale, and adventure awaited her at every turn. The path ahead shimmered with possibilities, and she was ready to embrace whatever came next. As dawn broke over Eldrida, the air sparkled with the sound of chirping birds and the rustle of leaves. Alice stood at the edge of the Grove of Whispers, her heart racing with excitement as she surveyed her new surroundings. The vibrant hues of the enchanted realm felt alive, as if the very essence of magic pulsed through the ground beneath her feet. The ancient oak tree that had once anchored her in her mundane life now felt like a distant memory, a mere whisper of the past. "Ready for your first task, Guardian?" Pippin flitted around Alice, her wings shimmering like dewdrops in the morning sun. The fairy's excitement was palpable, and Alice found herself grinning from ear to ear. "What do I need to do?" she asked, her voice bubbling with enthusiasm. Pippin landed on a nearby mushroom, her tiny body bouncing as she gestured dramatically. "Today we must visit the Glimmering Falls. The waters there possess the magic that sustains the grove, but I've sensed a disturbance in their flow. We need to find out what's causing it. Otherwise, the grove's magic could fade." Alice nodded, the weight of her new responsibility settling in her chest. "Let's go then. What are we waiting for?" With a twirl of her hand, Pippin summoned a path lined with sparkling flowers that seemed to sway in rhythm with their excitement. The pair set off, with the fox trotting alongside them, his playful demeanor urging Alice to embrace every moment. As they walked, the scenery shifted from the lush greenery of the grove to a more rugged terrain, dotted with shimmering crystals that reflected the sunlight like stars. The air grew cooler as they approached the Glimmering Falls, the sound of rushing water cascading like laughter ahead of them. When they arrived, Alice stood in awe. The falls tumbled down a rocky cliff, sparkling in a kaleidoscope of colors. However, something was amiss. The water, usually a vibrant cerulean, now appeared murky and sluggish, struggling to flow freely. Pippin frowned, her wings dimming slightly. "This is worse than I thought. The magic of the falls is tied to the Heartstone, a gem hidden within the waterfall. If it is tainted, the grove will lose its vitality." Alice stepped closer, peering into the swirling waters. "How do we cleanse it?" she asked, determination coursing through her veins. "Only the pure of heart can retrieve the Heartstone," Pippin replied, her voice a whisper of urgency. "You must dive into the waters and retrieve it." Alice hesitated for a moment, the chill of the water sending shivers through her. But as she looked at Pippin and the fox, she felt a surge of courage. "I can do this," she declared, taking a deep breath. "I'll bring back the Heartstone." With that, Alice stepped into the water, the cold rushing around her like a gentle embrace. As she swam deeper, the world above faded away, replaced by an ethereal glow that surrounded her. Fish with scales like mirrors swam by, guiding her further into the depths. Suddenly she spotted a glimmering object nestled in the rocks. The Heartstone, but just as she reached for it, the water swirled violently and a shadow loomed before her, a dark figure woven from the muck and chaos that had seeped into the falls. "Who dares to disturb my domain?" a voice echoed, deep and resonant. It was a water spirit, twisted and corrupted by the negativity that had seeped into the grove. Alice's heart raced. "I'm Alice, the new guardian of the grove." "I'm here to restore the Heartstone," she declared, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her. The spirit laughed, a sound like shattering glass. "You think you can reclaim what's mine? The Heartstone belongs to me now." Alice's resolve strengthened. "I may be just a girl, but I believe in the magic of this grove and the hope it brings. I will not let you keep it." Summoning all her courage, Alice reached for the Heartstone. The moment her fingers brushed against its surface, a rush of warmth surged through her, illuminating the dark waters. The spirit shrieked, the shadows around it flickering as the light of the Heartstone began to push back the darkness. "If you truly wish to protect the grove, then prove your heart is pure," it bellowed, swirling around her like a tempest. Alice focused on the grove, on Pippin, the fox, and the joy she felt in this magical world. "I believe in kindness, in courage, and in friendship," she shouted, her voice cutting through the chaos. "I won't give up." With a final surge of determination, she grasped the Heartstone tightly, and in that moment the waters erupted in a blinding light. The spirit recoiled, its form disintegrating into tendrils of shadow before vanishing completely, leaving behind a serene stillness. As the water cleared, Alice held the Heartstone close to her heart, feeling its warmth fill her with newfound strength. The grove's magic was safe once more. She swam back to the surface, emerging from the water victorious. Pippin and the fox cheered as Alice climbed onto the shore, the Heartstone glowing brightly in her hands. "You did it, Alice!" Pippin exclaimed, her wings dancing with delight. "I couldn't have done it without you two," Alice replied, beaming. "Now, let's restore the Heartstone to the grove." Together they made their way back to the Grove of Whispers, ready to unleash the magic and restore harmony to Eldrida, knowing that their adventures were only just beginning. As the last shimmer of twilight faded over Eldrida, painting the sky in hues of lavender and rose, Alice stood at the edge of the Grove of Whispers, the Heartstone cradled in her hands. Its glow pulsed softly, radiating warmth and vitality, driving away the lingering shadows cast by the defeated water spirit. Pippin flitted about her head, his tiny wings creating a sound like the tinkling of bells, his eyes sparkling with pride. "You did it, Alice!" he exclaimed, hovering to give her a small congratulatory pat on the shoulder. "You saved the grove. The magic is returning." Alice smiled, feeling the warmth of the Heartstone seep into her heart. "But we can't stop here, can we? The water spirit was just a symptom of something much larger. I can still feel a darkness lurking in the corners of the grove." The fox, who had been quietly observing, stepped forward, his amber eyes reflecting the Heartstone's glow. "You're right, Alice. The Grove of Whispers is vast, and there are many secrets within its depths. If the water spirit was corrupted, what else could be lurking in the shadows?" Pippin nodded vigorously. "We must venture deeper into the grove. There are ancient trees that hold the wisdom of Eldrida, and they might know more about this darkness." With a resolute nod, Alice tucked the Heartstone safely into a woven pouch at her side. Together they set off toward the heart of the grove, guided by the whispers of the trees that seemed to beckon them closer. As they traversed the vibrant underbrush, the air thickened with the scent of dew-kissed ferns and wildflowers. Alice felt the magic of Eldrida all around her, but it was interspersed with an unsettling chill. The closer they got to the ancient trees, the more the whispers turned into hushed murmurs of concern. Suddenly Pippin halted mid-air, his wings quivering. "Do you hear that?" he whispered, his voice barely above a flutter. Alice strained her ears, catching a faint, sorrowful melody weaving through the air, like an echo of long-lost laughter drifting on the breeze. Intrigued, they followed the sound, winding through the colossal trunks until they reached a clearing. There a massive tree stood, its trunk gnarled and twisted, yet with an ethereal beauty that drew them in. At the base of the tree lay a shimmering pool, reflecting the last remnants of the sunset. The melody flowed from the water, soft and melodic, yet tinged with a sorrow that tugged at Alice's heart. As they approached, a figure emerged from the depths of the pool. A spirit, not dark like the water spirit, but shimmering with an aura of sadness. Her hair flowed like strands of silver water, and her eyes shimmered like the moonlit surface of the pool. "Welcome, guardians of the grove," she spoke, her voice a haunting echo. "I am Lyra, keeper of the melodies. The Heartstone has restored some balance, but not all is well in Eldreda. The darkness you defeated was merely a fragment of a greater sorrow that binds the spirits of this land." Alice stepped forward, heart racing. "What can we do to help?" "How can we lift this sorrow?" Lyra looked at her with deep, knowing eyes. "There is a harmony stone hidden within the veil of echoes that can mend the rift caused by the corruption. But it is guarded by a creature born of despair, a shade that feeds on sorrow and fear. To retrieve the harmony stone, you must confront your own fears and restore the light within your hearts." The words resonated deep within Alice, echoing the journey she had already begun. She glanced at Pippin and the fox, their determination matching her own. "We will retrieve the harmony stone," Alice declared, her voice steady and resolute. "Together, we'll face whatever darkness lies ahead. The Grove of Whispers deserves peace, and we will fight for it." Lyra's expression softened, and she nodded. "Then take this, a melody carved from the very essence of Eldreda. It will guide you when the path seems darkest." She raised her hands, sending a soft, luminous thread of light towards Alice, wrapping around her like a gentle embrace. With newfound determination and the shimmering melody as their beacon, Alice, Pippin, and the fox stepped back into the grove, ready to journey into the unknown depths of the Veil of Echoes. They would confront the shade and discover the true power of harmony in a world that so desperately needed it. And as they ventured forth, the whispers of the grove surged around them, carrying with it the promise of adventure and the hope of renewal. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting a golden glow across the Grove of Whispers, Alice, Pippin, and the fox gathered at the base of the ancient trees. The air was thick with the sweet scent of blooming flowers, but a lingering tension hung over them, a reminder of the task that lay ahead. "We must find the shade and reclaim the harmony stone before the darkness spreads," Alice declared, her gaze steady and resolute. Pippin flapped his tiny wings, sending shimmering motes of light dancing into the air. "What if the shade is more powerful than the water spirit?" Pippin asked, his voice a mixture of excitement and fear. "The shade is born of shadows, yes," the fox said, his eyes sharp and wise. "But remember, Alice, you have already faced and overcome greater odds. The Heartstone has granted you strength." Alice nodded, feeling the warmth of the Heartstone nestled in her satchel. It pulsed gently, a reminder of their recent victory. "We'll find the harmony stone no matter the cost. Its magic is vital to the balance of Eldreda." With that, they set off deeper into the grove, guided by the whispers of the trees. The path twisted and turned under the weight of ancient roots, and vibrant flora glowed softly in the encroaching twilight. They were led to a clearing where the air crackled with energy, shimmering like a veil. Suddenly they stumbled upon a peculiar sight, a circle of luminous mushrooms that pulsed with light, illuminating a large stone pedestal in the center. On it rested what appeared to be a beautifully crafted harp, the strings glinting with an ethereal sheen. "Lyra's harp!" Pippin exclaimed, darting forward. "This must be a fragment of the harmony stone." Alice approached cautiously, her heart racing. "But where is the shade?" As if in answer, a chill swept through the clearing, snuffing out the light from the mushrooms. A dark figure began to materialize, swirling like smoke, taking on the shape of a tall, cloaked entity with glowing red eyes. "Foolish mortals," the shade hissed, its voice a chilling whisper that echoed in the stillness. "You dare to claim what belongs to the shadows?" Alice stepped forward, her heart pounding but her resolve unshaken. We seek the Harmony Stone to restore balance to Eldrida. We will not be deterred by your darkness. The shade laughed, a sound like cracking ice. Balance? You know nothing of balance. It is chaos that reigns supreme. Embrace the shadows, and you shall find true power. With a swift movement, the shade raised its hand, and the energy in the clearing shifted. Shadows coiled around Alice and her companions, threatening to pull them into the abyss of despair. "Stay close," Alice shouted, reaching for Pippin's tiny talon as she felt the shadows tugging at her. "We must stand together." In that moment, the heartstone in Alice's satchel began to glow fiercely, a beacon of light piercing through the darkness. The fox, sensing the surge of magic, stood firm beside Alice. "It's time to unleash the power of the heartstone," he urged. Alice grasped the stone tightly, feeling its energy flow through her. "Light of Eldrida, shine," she cried, raising the heartstone high above her head. The brilliant light cascaded across the clearing, pushing back the shadows that clawed at them. The shade recoiled, its form flickering as the light enveloped it. "No. You cannot defeat the darkness," it screeched, but Alice felt an overwhelming surge of courage. With a fierce determination, she directed the light toward the shade. "You will not control us. We choose hope." The radiance erupted, a wave of warmth and brilliance that washed over everything. The clearing lit up in a kaleidoscope of colors, and the shade writhed in agony, its dark form dissolving like mist under the sun. As the darkness faded, the harp on the pedestal began to resonate with harmony, the strings vibrating in tune with the heartstone's light. Alice, Pippin, and the fox stood united, their hearts synchronized with the pulse of magic that flowed through Eldrida. "Together we can reclaim the Harmony Stone," Alice declared, her voice steady. The shade's remnants swirled away, leaving only the resonant music of the harp and the promise of hope hanging in the air. But as the shadows receded, a new challenge awaited them. A flicker of darkness in the corner of Alice's vision, a reminder that the struggle for harmony was far from over. "Let's take the harp," she said decisively, "and uncover the final truth of the Harmony Stone." With newfound resolve, they approached the harp, ready to unlock the next chapter of their journey. As Alice reached out to touch it, she hoped that the music would guide them, as it had done for so many before. As dawn broke over the grove of whispers, the first rays of sunlight pierced through the emerald canopy, casting dappled light onto the forest floor. Alice, Pippin, and the fox stood together, their hearts still racing from the encounter with the shade. The Harmony Stone, a shimmering gem of ethereal light, lay cradled in Alice's hands, pulsating gently, a beacon of hope in the encroaching gloom. "Is this truly it?" Alice asked, her voice a mix of awe and trepidation. "The key to restoring balance?" "It is indeed," the fox replied, his amber eyes gleaming with wisdom. "But remember, dear Alice, the stone's power can only be harnessed by those who understand the melodies of Eldrida. We must learn to listen." Pippin fluttered closer, his little wings buzzing with excitement. "What do we do now?" "Can we play it like an instrument?" Alice chuckled softly. "I think it's a little more complicated than that, my friend. But let's find a place where we can hear the grove's music more clearly." They meandered deeper into the grove, each step accompanied by the whispers of the trees, which seemed to hum a forgotten tune. As they walked, the air grew thick with enchantment, and strange, luminous flowers began to bloom around them, twinkling like stars fallen to the earth. After a time they stumbled upon a small clearing, its center dominated by a massive willow tree, its branches swirling elegantly in the breeze. The tree seemed to resonate with a deep ancient melody. Alice approached, placing a hand on its gnarled trunk. Instantly, the harmony stone began to glow brighter, reacting to the vibrations in the air. "It's like the tree is singing," Pippin exclaimed, his eyes wide with wonder. "Yes, but it's more than just singing," the fox said, tilting his head. "It's calling out to you, Alice. You must tune into its essence." Alice closed her eyes, focusing intently on the sound, the rhythm of the grove. As she did, memories of her journey surged within her, a blend of laughter, joy, sorrow, and the bond she shared with her friends. The essence of Eldreda was woven into these memories, and she felt the harmony stone pulse in sync with her heart. "Listen closely," Lyra's voice echoed in her mind, a gentle reminder. "The stone doesn't just seek music, it needs your truth." Taking a deep breath, Alice began to hum softly, weaving her own melody into the air. With every note, the harmony stone responded, growing brighter still. The grove seemed to sway in rhythm, birds joining in with their sweet songs, the trees rustling like applause. But suddenly a shadow flickered at the edge of the clearing, the familiar chill of despair creeping back. The shade had not been vanquished for long. It emerged from the underbrush, its dark tendrils curling like smoke, eyes glowing with malignant intent. "You think you can wield the harmony stone?" it hissed, its voice a sinister whisper. "Foolish girl. The sorrow of Eldreda runs deeper than you know. You will never reclaim what is lost." Alice's heart raced, but alongside it burned a new determination. "We have faced darkness before," she declared, her voice steady. "And we will face it again. But together we can bring back the light." With a flourish, she lifted the harmony stone high above her head, its brilliance illuminating the clearing. The shade recoiled, its form rippling in the bright glow. Alice could feel the energy of the grove surging through her, the melodies blending into a powerful harmony. "Now," the fox shouted, "focus on the truth of the land. Let the stone amplify your heart's song." Alice closed her eyes again, summoning the strength of her memories, the laughter of friends, the beauty of the grove, and the whispers of hope. With a burst of courage, she sang louder, her voice entwining with the light of the harmony stone. Pippin joined in, his tiny voice soaring alongside hers, while the fox added a deep, resonant hum. Together they became a symphony of light and sound, the very essence of Eldreda pouring forth from their hearts. The shade writhed, struggling against the warmth of their melody, but it was no match for the growing power of unity. With one final note, soaring and resolute, the harmony stone erupted in a brilliant flash, engulfing the clearing in a warm golden light. The shade screamed, a sound like shattering glass before dissipating into a cloud of dark mist. As the light faded, the grove transformed. The flowers bloomed brighter, the trees stood taller, and a sense of peace settled over Eldreda once more. Alice, Pippin, and the fox stood amidst the beauty, breathless yet triumphant. "We did it," Pippin whispered, awestruck. "For now," the fox cautioned. "But the shadows will always linger, and there are still deeper sorrows to uncover. We must prepare for the trials ahead, for this is just the beginning." Alice nodded, her resolve renewed. "Then let's continue our journey. Eldreda is counting on us." With newfound purpose, the trio ventured forth, ready to face whatever challenges lay beyond the Grove of Whispers, united in their quest to restore harmony to their beloved land. As the last echoes of Alice's triumphant melody faded into the luminescent air of the Grove of Whispers, a gentle breeze rustled the leaves, as if the very essence of the grove was thanking her for the restoration. The vibrant colors of the flora seemed to pulse with renewed vigor, reflecting the harmony Alice had invoked. Pippin bounced excitedly around the clearing, chasing after glimmering motes of light that danced like fireflies, while the fox observed with a knowing glint in his eyes. "Well done, Alice," he said, his voice smooth and rich with the wisdom of ages. "But do not let your heart be lulled into complacency. The shade may be vanquished for now, yet it has sown seeds of doubt in the hearts of many." Alice nodded, her brow furrowing with concern. "What must we do next? I can feel the shadows still lingering, like whispers on the wind." The fox considered for a moment, his tail swishing thoughtfully. "We must seek the elders of the grove. They hold the knowledge of the ancient melodies and can guide us in weaving the final threads of harmony." Pippin, his eyes sparkling with curiosity, interjected, "But how do we find the elders?" "I've never seen one." The fox gestured to the path leading deeper into the grove, where the trees grew denser and their trunks twisted in elaborate patterns. "Follow the silver glade. Its shimmering leaves will guide you, but beware. There are those who would exploit the remnants of chaos left by the shade." With determination, Alice gripped the harmony stone, feeling its warmth pulse in her palm. "Let's go then. We have to protect Eldrida." They journeyed deeper into the grove, the air thickening with a sense of magic and mystery. As they walked, the sounds of the grove transformed. Instead of the harmonious melodies they had heard before, discordant notes began to echo through the trees, a low hum that set Alice's teeth on edge. "That doesn't sound good," Pippin said, his ears drooping slightly. Before Alice could respond, the ground trembled, and from the underbrush emerged a figure cloaked in shadows, with eyes like burning coals. It was a wraith, a creature formed from the remnants of the shade's chaos, an embodiment of fear and despair. "You think you can restore balance?" the wraith hissed, its voice like rustling leaves in a storm. "The harmony you seek is but a fragile illusion. I will show you the truth of your world." Alice stepped forward, summoning her courage. "We have already faced the shade and defeated its darkness. Your power cannot sway us," the wraith laughed, a cold, hollow sound. "You misunderstand, little girl. I do not aim to sway. I aim to shatter." In an instant, the wraith lunged, tendrils of shadow stretching towards Alice and Pippin, seeking to ensnare them. The fox leaped in front, his form flickering like the flame of a candle, and shouted, "Sing, Alice! Remember the melody that binds us." With a deep breath, Alice closed her eyes, calling upon the memories of laughter and unity shared with Pippin and the fox. She began to sing, a haunting melody that resonated with the very essence of Eldrida. The wraith paused, confusion flickering across its features, but the shadows continued to writhe, hungry for chaos. Through her song, Alice wove the threads of hope and friendship, and as her voice soared, the grove responded. The trees swayed, and a chorus of voices joined in, echoing the ancient melodies of the elders. The light intensified, pushing back the darkness, illuminating the path ahead. But just as victory seemed within reach, the ground split open, revealing a hidden chasm that pulsed with malevolent energy. From its depths emerged a shadowy figure draped in silver. the eldest of the elders, guardian of harmony. "You are bold, young one," the eldest intoned, their voice echoing like thunder. "But you must be cautious. The wraith is but a fragment. There are greater powers at play, and the balance of Eldreda hangs by a thread." Alice's heart raced. "What must we do to restore it?" "We need your guidance." The eldest raised a hand, and the shadows receded slightly, revealing a path forward. "You must confront the source of this chaos. There lies a sanctum of echoes where the echoes of past conflicts reside. Only by understanding their stories can you mend the fabric of your world. But beware, for the shadows will not let you pass without a challenge." Pippin looked up at Alice, determination filling his small frame. "We've come this far together. We can't turn back now." Alice smiled at her friends, their resolve strengthening her own. "Then we shall face whatever lies ahead, for Eldreda, for harmony." With their spirits intertwined and the power of the Harmony Stone guiding them, Alice, Pippin, and the fox set forth towards the sanctum of echoes, ready to confront the shadows of the past and forge a new future for Eldreda. The adventure had only just begun. As dawn broke over the grove of whispers, the first rays of sunlight filtered through the dense foliage, casting shimmering patterns on the forest floor. Alice, Pippin, and the fox stood at the edge of the grove, their hearts brimming with determination. The eldest of the elders had imparted wisdom that weighed heavy in their minds. The sanctum of echoes awaited, but they must first unlock the pathway shrouded in the mists of uncertainty. "Are you ready, Alice?" Pippin chirped, his eyes dancing with excitement. The small creature had always been a beacon of energy, but today his spirit felt particularly electric. Alice nodded resolutely, gripping the Harmony Stone which hung around her neck. It pulsed softly against her chest, a constant reminder of the strength she wielded. "Remember," the fox said, his voice low and measured, "the sanctum is a reflection of our inner selves. The fears we carry will take form once we enter, and only by facing them can we find the truth that lies within." With a deep breath, Alice stepped forward, leading the way through the archway of twisted vines that marked the entrance to the sanctum. As they crossed the threshold, a chill enveloped them, and the vibrant colors of the grove faded into muted shades of gray. The air hung heavy with an almost palpable dread, yet the Harmony Stone glimmered defiantly in the dim light. Suddenly, a low whisper echoed through the chamber, sending ripples of unease through Alice. "Fear has come to greet you, dear Alice," it hissed, a voice like rustling leaves. From the shadows emerged a figure, towering and cloaked in darkness, the wraith now more formidable than before. "You think you can conquer me?" the wraith taunted, its voice dripping with malice. "I am the embodiment of your doubts and fears, the whispers that tell you that you are not enough." Pippin stepped forward, his small frame shaking with indignation. "We've faced you before." "You will not win this time," he shouted, though the tremor in his voice betrayed his own uncertainty. The wraith locked its gaze on Alice, its eyes swirling with a tempest of despair. "What will you do when the melody of hope falters, little girl? When the shadows close in and the echoes of your past haunt you?" Alice felt a pang in her chest. Memories of moments where she felt inadequate flooded her mind. Times when she had doubted her abilities, questioned her worth, and feared failing those she loved. But as she clutched the Harmony Stone, a warm glow spread through her, igniting a flicker of defiance. "I am not alone," Alice declared, her voice steady. "I carry the strength of the grove, and with my friends beside me, I will not succumb to despair." She lifted her voice, summoning the melody that intertwined with the magic of the harmony stone. The notes resonated with the very essence of the grove, filling the air with light and warmth. The wraith recoiled, its form beginning to dissipate under the force of Alice's song. Yet it lashed out one last time, its tendrils reaching for Pippin. "You cannot shield your heart from the truth. You will all fall to darkness." In that moment, a surge of clarity washed over Alice. "Pippin, remember our song of unity. We can turn this darkness into light." She gestured for her companions to join her, and the fox, with his wise spirit, began to weave a counter-melody, harmonizing with Alice's voice. As their combined song soared, the wraith shrieked in anguish, its form splintering into fragments of shadow. The sanctum pulsed with vibrant colors, the echoes of their melody driving back the darkness, illuminating the once muted space. But just as victory seemed near, a tremor shook the ground beneath them. The stones of the sanctum began to ripple, and a new sound emerged, an ominous rumble that reverberated through the air. The shadows recoiled, but they did not vanish entirely. Instead, they coalesced into a swirling vortex, revealing a new path that beckoned them deeper into the sanctum. Alice's heart raced. "What is this? Is there more to confront?" Her question hung heavy in the air, but she knew they had no choice but to press on. The harmony stone glowed brighter, urging them forward as the new path shimmered with potential and peril. "We must go, Alice," the fox urged, his gaze steady. "This is the next step in our journey. Face what lies ahead together, and we shall find the heart of this chaos." With resolve hardening in her chest, Alice nodded once more. Hand in hand with Pippin and the fox, they stepped into the swirling vortex, the echoes of their battle behind them, and the unknown ahead. In the depths of the Sanctum of Echoes, a greater truth awaited, one that would test their unity and courage like never before. As the vortex whirled and pulsed with a mesmerizing light, Alice felt a mixture of trepidation and curiosity. The air crackled with energy, and Pippin's wide eyes sparkled with excitement. "Do you think this leads to the heart of the chaos?" he chirped, his voice a blend of eagerness and anxiety. "We have to find out," Alice said, her voice steady despite the storm of emotions swirling within her. She took a deep breath, recalling the words of the eldest of the elders. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. With Pippin by her side and the fox's watchful gaze upon them, Alice stepped closer to the edge of the vortex. As she peered into the depths, a sudden wind enveloped her, whispering secrets of the past and the future. The fox, sensing her hesitation, nudged her gently. "Remember, dear Alice, this path may reveal more than you expect. Embrace whatever comes, for it is all a part of your journey." With one last glance at the swirling grove behind them, Alice grasped Pippin's paw and leapt into the vortex. They tumbled through a kaleidoscope of colors and sounds, a whirlwind of memories and dreams that disoriented their senses. Then, with a soft thud, they landed on solid ground, finding themselves in a cavernous chamber illuminated by glowing crystals that seemed to hum with a life of their own. "Where are we?" Alice whispered, awestruck by the beauty around them. The air felt charged with an ancient magic, yet an underlying current of dread lingered, prickling at her skin. Before Pippin could respond, a figure emerged from the shadows, a tall ethereal being cloaked in shimmering mist. Its eyes glowed like twin moons, and as it stepped closer, Alice realized with a start that it was a manifestation of the Wraith. But this time, It appeared more regal, almost sorrowful. "I am the echo of despair," it spoke, its voice resonating like a haunting melody. "You have come seeking to vanquish fear, yet you do not know the true source of your struggles." Alice felt a chill. "What do you mean?" "The wraith you faced is but a fragment of the darkness that dwells within. Each time you fight it, you push the fear away, but it is not truly gone." "It only waits for you to falter," the echo replied, its tone both chilling and compassionate. "To restore harmony, you must confront the darkness within your own heart." Pippin shivered beside her, but Alice stood tall, drawing strength from the bond they shared. "We will not be broken by fear," she declared, her voice firm. "We will face whatever lies within us." The echo smiled, and the mists around it swirled in delight. "Brave child, you must enter the Hall of Reflections. There you will see your fears laid bare. Only by acknowledging them can you find the strength to overcome." Before Alice could respond, the chamber shifted, the ground beneath them becoming a mosaic of shifting mirrors. Each reflection showed a different version of Alice and Pippin, some trembling in fear, others bold and fierce. In one, Alice stood alone, the wraith looming larger than life, and in another, she sang a melody of hope, her voice unyielding. "Choose your reflection wisely," the echo intoned, its figure beginning to fade. "For within it lies your truth." Alice turned to Pippin, her heart racing. "We've faced the wraith before. Together we can do this again." With determination, they stepped forward, each choosing a mirror that resonated with their courage, a reflection that embraced their struggles while illuminating their strength. As they touched the surface, a brilliant light engulfed them, and the air hummed with the promise of transformation. Suddenly the ground trembled again, and the wraith's laughter echoed through the chamber, a chilling reminder that their battle was far from over. "You think you can conquer me?" it taunted, its voice slithering through the air. "You are merely children lost in the darkness." But Alice and Pippin stood firm, hearts aflame with the unity of their song. "We are not lost. We are brave," Alice shouted, her voice rising above the chaos, "and we will not let fear define us." With that declaration, the mirrors shimmered, reflecting their strength back to them, bolstering their resolve. The wraith, sensing the shift, recoiled momentarily, its form flickering like a dying flame. But Alice and Pippin knew they had to move swiftly. "Let's sing," Pippin cried, and together they began to chant a melody woven with hope, resilience, and friendship. The sound reverberated within the chamber, merging with the glowing crystals, growing louder and more harmonious. As the wraith writhed and shrieked, the echoes of their song began to envelop it, drawing on the power of their united spirits. The air thickened with light, and Alice could feel the fear within her loosening its grip. It was time to confront not just the wraith, but the darkness within themselves. With one final surge of courage, they sang their hearts out, each note carrying the weight of their fears and the light of their friendship. In that moment, the wraith faltered, its form dissipating like smoke in the wind, revealing a path forward, a way to embrace the light that awaited beyond the darkness. As the echoes of their song faded, Alice looked at Pippin, determination shining in her eyes. "This is only the beginning. We will face whatever comes next, together." With the wraith momentarily vanquished, they gathered their strength and stepped boldly into the light, ready to confront the greater challenges that lay ahead in the realm of Eldrida. As the last notes of their melody faded into the cool air of the Hall of Reflections, a shimmering light enveloped Alice, Pippin, and the wise fox, lifting them momentarily from the clutches of despair. They landed softly on the other side of the swirling vortex, their hearts racing with adrenaline yet filled with a new sense of purpose. They stood in a vibrant glade, seemingly untouched by the shadows that had plagued them before. Lush trees swayed gently, their leaves shimmering in hues of gold and emerald, while flowers bloomed in an iridescent spectrum, casting a warm glow throughout the space. Yet the beauty of this realm was deceptive, for a subtle undercurrent of tension hung in the air, as if the light itself was holding its breath. Just beyond the glade, a winding path emerged, its stones engraved with ancient symbols that pulsed softly, beckoning them forward. "This feels almost too serene," Pippin remarked, his large eyes scanning their surroundings. "Are we sure we're safe here?" "The Harmony Stone," Alice whispered, clutching the gem close to her heart. "It vibrates differently here. It's almost harmonizing with the land." Fox nodded, his keen gaze surveying the path ahead. "I believe this is a test of sorts, a journey to deepen our understanding of what we've faced. Each step forward may reveal more of our fears, or perhaps more of ourselves." With a collective nod, the trio ventured down the path, their feet echoing against the stones. As they walked, the surroundings began to shift subtly. Colors bled into one another, and shadows danced at the edges of their vision. Suddenly, a figure materialized before them, a tall, cloaked apparition with an unsettling familiarity. "Alice," the figure intoned, its voice echoing like a distant memory. "You have come so far, yet your soul remains fragmented. I am the echo of regret, a shadow of your past decisions. Will you face me, or will you turn away once more?" Alice could feel her heart pound in her chest, her feet momentarily frozen to the ground. Regret was a heavy burden. Memories of choices made and chances lost flickered like a film reel in her mind. But as she glanced at Pippin and Fox, their unwavering support ignited a spark of determination. "I will face you," she declared, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "I will not shy away from who I was, for it has led me to who I am now." The echo of regret laughed softly, a sound like rustling leaves. "Very well, but beware. Every decision carries a weight. What will you choose when the shadows of your past loom large?" With that, the apparition waved a hand, and the glade transformed. Scenes of her past began to unfold around her. Moments of hesitation, choices made in fear, friendships strained by doubt. Each vision felt like a stab to her heart, waves of shame crashing against her resolve. "I could have been braver. I should have spoken up. I should have fought harder." The words echoed in her mind, each one a reminder of her perceived failures. Yet, as she watched, something within her shifted. She recalled the moments of courage, the times she had stood up for what was right, and the laughter shared with her friends. "No," she said firmly, stepping closer to the echo. "Regret is a part of me, but I will not let it define me. I have learned, and I am still learning." With newfound strength, Alice raised the Harmony Stone high, its light growing brighter, illuminating the shadows around them. Pippin and Fox joined her, their voices melding into a chorus that resonated with hope and resilience. Together, they sang a melody that intertwined their joys and sorrows, transforming regret into a powerful anthem of acceptance. As the last note reverberated through the air, the echo of regret flickered, losing its form as light consumed it. With a final sigh, it dissipated into sparkles that rained down upon them, leaving behind a sense of peace. "You did it!" Pippin exclaimed, bouncing on his feet. "You faced it head on." The light of the Harmony Stone grew even brighter. Fox smiled, a proud glint in his wise eyes. "Each challenge faced fortifies your spirit, Alice. Remember, it is not the mistakes that define you, but how you rise from them that shapes your path." As they continued down the path, a new shimmer appeared in the distance. "Look!" Alice pointed, her heart swelling with excitement. "There's a new light ahead. Maybe it's our next challenge, or a sign of our journey's progress." With hope guiding them, they stepped forward, ready to embrace whatever awaited them in the realm of Eldrida, united in their strength and steadfast in their resolve. As Alice and Pippin stepped away from the glade that had filled them with both trepidation and newfound resolve, the air shifted around them. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting elongated shadows across the vibrant foliage of Eldrida. A palpable energy hummed through the trees, as if the realm itself were holding its breath in anticipation of what was to come. "We did it, Alice," Pippin said, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "We faced the echo of regret and turned it into something beautiful. What's next?" Alice took a deep breath, feeling the echoes of their song still resonating within her. "I believe the echo has more to teach us. Each challenge builds upon the last, guiding us toward the heart of the darkness that is the Wraith." Just as she spoke, the ground trembled gently beneath their feet, and a path began to unfurl before them, lined with luminescent flowers that pulsed with light. Compelled by curiosity, they followed the trail deeper into the woods, where the trees grew thicker and the light dimmed. As they ventured forth, they heard a soft rustling, and from the shadows emerged the fox, his warm eyes glinting with knowing. "Ah, dear travelers, you have come at last to the crossroads of choices," he said, his voice smooth as silk. "This is a place where every decision you make will ripple through the fabric of Eldrida." Alice exchanged a glance with Pippin, the weight of the fox's words settling between them. "What must we do?" Alice asked, her heart quickening with both excitement and trepidation. The fox gestured toward the three paths diverging before them, each one marked by a different symbol: a sun, a moon, and a star. Each path represents a choice that will lead you deeper into your journey. The sun embodies clarity and courage, the moon represents intuition and reflection, and the star signifies dreams and aspirations. Choose wisely, for your choice will affect not only your own fate, but the fate of Eldrida as well. Pippin tilted his head, pondering the options. What if we choose the wrong path? "The wrong path is simply a lesson, not a failure," the fox replied with a reassuring smile. "Trust in your bond and the strength you've gained together." Alice took a moment to reflect, considering the echoes of her past and the courage she had summoned. "I want to choose the path that will lead us to the heart of the Wraith," she said finally, her voice steady. "That's the path of the sun." With a nod of agreement from Pippin, they stepped toward the sunlit path. As they did, a sudden gust of wind swept through the clearing, whispering secrets and lost dreams. The air thickened with tension, and the laughter of the Wraith echoed mockingly through the trees. "Fools!" a sinister voice called from the shadows, coalescing into the dark figure of the Wraith itself. "You believe you can conquer me with the light of your choices? You will find only despair." Alice felt her heart race, but the warmth of Pippin's presence grounded her. "We are not afraid of you," she shouted, her voice resounding with the power of their earlier song. "We've faced our darkness, and it has made us stronger." The Wraith let out a chilling laugh, its form flickering like a dying flame. Strength is nothing without wisdom. You may choose the sun, but it brings its own burdens. Let us see if you can handle the weight of your brilliance." With that, the wraith unleashed a dark wave of energy, engulfing the path ahead. Alice felt the shadows clawing at her mind, dredging up fears she thought she had buried. But in that moment she remembered the echo of regret and the song that had transformed her pain into power. "Pippin, sing with me!" she cried, her voice rising above the chaos. Together they began to weave a melody, a powerful harmony that resonated with light and warmth. The sunflowers along the path swayed in rhythm, and the darkness began to recede, revealing the true nature of their surroundings. As their song filled the air, the wraith shrieked, its form beginning to unravel. "No! This cannot be," it howled, but Alice and Pippin pressed on, pouring their hearts into the melody, each note a declaration of their strength and unity. With one final crescendo, the wraith was cast back, its form dissolving into a swirl of shadows. The path ahead shimmered with renewed light, illuminating their way forward. Breathless but exhilarated, Alice and Pippin gazed down the sunlit path that stretched out before them. "What awaits us next?" Pippin asked, his eyes wide with wonder. "I don't know," Alice replied, her heart full of hope. "But whatever it is, we will face it together." And hand in hand they ventured onward, ready to embrace the next chapter of their journey through Eldrida. As Alice, Pippin, and Fox stepped onto the sunlit path, the vibrant hues of Eldrida seemed to come alive around them. Dappled sunlight filtered through the emerald leaves, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming wildflowers. Each step they took resonated with a sense of purpose, but the shadows of the wraith still lingered at the edge of their minds. "Do you think it's truly gone?" Alice asked, glancing back, half expecting to see the dark figure lurking behind them. Pippin bounced ahead, his spirit unyielding. "Wraiths are tricky, Alice. They thrive on fear. As long as we stay true to ourselves, we'll leave it behind for good." Fox nodded sagely, his eyes sparkling with wisdom. "The wraith feeds on doubt and despair. If you continue to embrace the light of your choices, it will lose its power over you." Determined, Alice pressed on, but as the path wound deeper into the heart of Eldrida, the enchantment began to shift. The sunlit path opened into a clearing that felt both inviting and eerily silent. In the center stood an ancient tree, its trunk gnarled and twisted, yet adorned with brilliant golden leaves that shimmered like stars. "This is the tree of reflection," Fox proclaimed, stepping closer to its formidable roots. "It reveals the truth hidden within our hearts. To move forward, each of us must face what we truly seek." "What do you mean?" Alice asked, her brow furrowing. "You must share your heart's desire, Alice. Only then can we move beyond the shadows that linger behind," Fox explained, gesturing toward the tree. Alice felt a swirl of emotions inside her: hope, fear, yearning. Could she really voice her deepest wish? Before she could respond, Pippin jumped in. "I'll go first. I wish to be a brave adventurer. I want to explore every corner of Eldrida and make a difference wherever I go." As he spoke, a warm glow radiated from the tree, enveloping him in a gentle light, and for a moment the air sparkled with magic. Next was Fox, who leaned against the tree. "I wish to guide those who seek their path, to share my wisdom and help others find their light." As he finished, a silver mist swirled around him, intertwining with the golden leaves above. Finally, it was Alice's turn. She felt her heart race, her vulnerability laid bare before the ancient tree. I wish to forgive myself for the mistakes I've made, to find peace with my past and create a future filled with hope. As the words left her lips, the tree trembled, and a cascade of golden leaves fell like soft rain, enveloping her in warmth. In that instant, Alice felt a surge of clarity wash over her, as if the weight of her regrets had been lifted, replaced by the promise of new possibilities. But just as the magic enveloped them, a chilling wind swept through the clearing, and the ground trembled beneath their feet. The wraith emerged from the shadows, its presence darker than ever, its eyes burning with malice. You think you can escape me? Your desires will only bind you tighter to your past. Alice felt the grip of fear tightening around her heart, but Pippin stepped forward, brandishing a branch like a sword. We won't let you take her. We faced you before and we won't back down now. With newfound determination, Alice took a deep breath, remembering the song that had once empowered her. Together we can face this darkness, she said, raising her voice. As they began to sing, the air shimmered with the magic of their harmonies, the golden leaves swirling and weaving into a protective barrier around them. The wraith shrieked, its form flickering as the light enveloped it, but it lashed out with tendrils of despair, seeking to break their song. Keep singing, Fox urged, his voice steady, guiding them through the rising chaos. With each note, Alice felt her confidence swell, her heart beating in time with the melody. The music resonated with the very essence of Eldrida, driving back the shadows. The wraith's form began to dissipate, its shrieks turning into whispers of regret. You cannot forget me. I am the voice of your past. But Alice, Pippin, and Fox harmonized louder, the power of their song creating a brilliant light that shattered the darkness. We are not defined by our past. We choose our own paths. With one final crescendo, the wraith vanished into a flurry of black smoke, leaving behind only a faint echo of its whispers. Silence fell over the clearing, and Alice, breathing heavily, felt a profound sense of liberation. We did it! Pippin exclaimed, his eyes wide with excitement. We faced the darkness together, Fox smiled knowingly. And in doing so, you have embraced your true desires. The journey forward will be brighter still. Alice looked up at the tree of reflection, now glowing softly in the aftermath of their victory. She reached out to touch its bark, feeling a connection to the very essence of her journey. What's next for us then? She asked, her heart swelling with hope. Now we venture onward, Fox replied, glancing toward the horizon where new paths awaited. With each step, you will discover who you are meant to be. As they set forth, the sun began to dip toward the horizon, casting long shadows that danced with the promise of adventure. Alice knew the road ahead would still hold challenges, but she felt stronger than ever, ready to shape her future with each brave choice she made. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Alice, Pippin, and Fox stood before the ancient tree of reflection, its silver leaves shimmering like stars. The air was thick with possibility, and the trio felt a renewed sense of purpose coursing through them after their victory over the wraith. Now that we've faced our fears, Pippin chirped, his eyes sparkling with excitement. What lies ahead? We've conquered darkness. Surely the world will reveal its wonders. Fox chuckled softly, his wise eyes glinting with mischief. Indeed, but the journey is not merely about what lies ahead. It is also about understanding what we carry within us and how we choose to share it with the world. Alice took a deep breath, reflecting on her heart's desire that she had voiced at the tree. She no longer felt the weight of her past dragging her down, but rather she was filled with a sense of responsibility to forge her own path. "I want to spread hope to help others who may still be battling their own wraiths," she said, her voice steady. "Then let us find those who need our light," Fox suggested, gesturing toward a winding path that forked into the heart of Eldrida's vibrant landscape. "There is a village not far from here that has been plagued by shadows of doubt and despair. We may be able to help." With newfound determination, the trio began their journey along the path. As they walked, the vibrant colors of Eldrida enveloped them, the flowers blooming in brilliant shades, and the trees whispering secrets of the past. Alice and Pippin shared stories and laughter, their spirits soaring high against the backdrop of the enchanting landscape. As they approached the village, however, they felt a palpable change in the atmosphere. The once jubilant sounds of children playing were replaced by an eerie silence. Houses stood like sentinels, their doors shut tight and shadows flickered in the corners of their vision. "What's happened here?" Pippin asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Fox furrowed his brow, sensing the weight of the despair that hung in the air. "We must approach with caution. Darkness can breed fear, and fear can cloud the heart." Just then they spotted a figure standing at the edge of the village, a young girl named Lila, her face streaked with tears. Her gaze met Alice's, and in that moment the weight of despair became clearer. Lila had once been the embodiment of joy in the village, but now she seemed lost. "Help us," Lila called, her voice trembling. "The shadows have taken my brother. He ventured into the Whispering Woods and he hasn't returned. Everyone is too afraid to go after him." Alice's heart ached at the girl's plea. "We will help you find him," she declared, determination igniting within her. "Together we can confront whatever darkness lies in the Whispering Woods." Pippin nodded eagerly. "This is our chance to spread that hope, Alice. If we can rescue him, we can show the village that they are not alone." Fox observed Lila closely, his expression softening. Fear is a powerful force, but it can be overcome with love and courage. "You must believe in yourselves, for that is where true strength lies." With Lila leading the way, they entered the Whispering Woods, where ancient trees towered above like guardians, their leaves rustling as if whispering secrets of the past. The deeper they ventured, the darker the path became, shadows creeping closer, whispering doubts and fears that tugged at their hearts. "Remember our song," Alice said, her voice steady as she took Pippin's hand. "Together, we can push back the shadows." As they began to sing, their harmonies intertwined, the darkness wavered, revealing glimpses of a light that danced through the trees. Alice felt the power of their unity, and in that moment she realized that her journey was not solely about her past or even her future. It was about the connections they forged along the way. Suddenly, a distant cry echoed through the woods, a voice laden with fear and longing. "Help! Someone, please!" "Is that him?" Lila gasped, hope flickering in her eyes. "Yes," Alice affirmed, her heart racing as they quickened their pace toward the sound. "We're coming." With every step they confronted their own shadows, the doubts that tempted to ensnare them, but each note of their song pushed the darkness back. They were not just seeking Lila's brother, they were lighting the way for all who had lost their way in the shadows. As they reached a clearing, they spotted a boy crouched beneath a massive tree, trembling and disoriented. The air shimmered with an ominous presence, the shadows swirling around him like a tempest. "Hold on!" Alice shouted, stepping forward with Pippin and Fox beside her. We're here to bring you home." With their voices rising in unison, they sang louder, their harmonies a beacon against the dark. The shadows shrieked, recoiling from the light, and as they reached out to the boy, Alice felt a surge of strength. Together they could face anything, illuminating even the deepest corners of despair. The boy looked up, hope glimmering in his eyes as he grasped Lila's hand, and with their combined voices they sang one final resounding note that shattered the lingering darkness. In that moment, Alice realized her heart was not just filled with hope, it was overflowing with love, and together they had the power to reclaim the light, not just for themselves, but for all of Eldreda. With the first light of dawn piercing through the canopy of the Whispering Woods, Alice, Pippin, and Lila stood at the edge of a clearing, their hearts still buoyed by the earlier triumph. The songs they had sung together echoed softly in their minds, a reminder that even the deepest shadows could be illuminated by the light of hope and harmony. "Do you think he's okay?" Lila asked, her voice trembling slightly as she gazed into the thick underbrush. The worry etched on her young face tugged at Alice's heart. "We'll find him," Alice replied firmly, even as a flicker of doubt slithered through her. "We've faced the Wraith, and we can face anything the woods throw at us now." Pippin, ever the brave companion, nodded vigorously. "And we have our song. Remember, every time we sing, we grow stronger together." Fox, who had been quietly observing the trees sway with the morning breeze, stepped forward. "The woods are alive with magic, and that magic is tied to your emotions. Let your fear be a melody and your courage a harmony. Together you can create a symphony that resonates with the very heart of Eldreda." With renewed determination, Alice took a deep breath. She could feel the warmth of her friends beside her, and she began to hum a gentle tune, a melody inspired by the vibrant colors surrounding them. Lila and Pippin joined in, their voices weaving together like threads of light. As the notes filled the air, the woods responded. Leaves shimmered and danced, and the shadows began to recede. But just as they felt a surge of hope, a chilling wind swept through the clearing, carrying with it whispers that wrapped around them like tendrils of fog. "Beware, beware, the shadows stir," the whispers echoed, warning them of unseen dangers. "Do you hear that?" Lila asked, her eyes wide with fear. "It's just the woods," Pippin reassured her. "They're trying to scare us. We need to stay strong." Fox's eyes gleamed with wisdom. "The shadows can only take hold if you allow them. Let your song grow louder, and the whispers will fade." With that, Alice raised her voice, pouring her heart into the melody. The sound swelled, resonating through the trees, breaking through the oppressive whispers. Lila, emboldened by Alice's strength, sang with all her might, calling out for her brother. Pippin's brave barks added a rhythm to their song, giving it life and energy. Suddenly the ground beneath them rumbled as a massive figure emerged from the shadows, a great lumbering creature made of twisted vines and dark mist. Its eyes glowed like embers, and its voice was like the rustling of dead leaves. "Turn back," it growled, "for the woods claim all who venture too deep." Alice felt a wave of fear wash over her, but she remembered Fox's words. "We will not turn back," she shouted defiantly. "We are not afraid of the darkness." With renewed conviction, the trio harmonized their voices, pouring their hopes and dreams into the song. As the music flowed from their lips, the creature hesitated, its form flickering like a candle in the wind. "Your music, it disrupts the shadows," it murmured, a hint of confusion breaking through its menace. Yes, Lila cried, stepping forward. We're here to help, not to fight you. We seek my brother and the light within these woods. The creature's form began to shift, the shadows falling away to reveal a softer side. Then join me in a different kind of song, it said, its voice trembling as it slowly transformed. In this forest there is pain, and I am but a guardian of the sorrow. Help me release it, and I shall guide you to the heart of the woods where secrets lie. Alice and her friends exchanged glances, a mixture of trepidation and hope swirling in the air. We will help you, Alice said, stepping forward. But you must promise to lead us to Lila's brother. As the creature nodded, Alice felt a new song rise within her, a melody of empathy and understanding. Together they sang, not just to confront the darkness, but to heal it. And as their voices intertwined, the woods began to illuminate, revealing paths once hidden and whispering secrets of the past that longed to be set free. In that moment, they understood that hope was not just a singular force. It was a bond forged in understanding and compassion, echoing through the very fabric of Eldrida. And as the light grew brighter, they stepped forward, ready to uncover the mysteries that awaited them deep within the heart of the Whispering Woods. The warm glow of the transformed shadow creature began to illuminate the heart of the Whispering Woods, casting ethereal light upon the surrounding trees. The once menacing shadows receded, revealing intricate paths woven with silver vines and sparkling mushrooms. The air was filled with a sweet melody, a harmony that resonated with the newfound hope blossoming within the group. Where are we? Pippin asked, his eyes wide with wonder as he took in the vibrant scenery. The woods, which had once felt foreboding, now pulsed with life and color. This is the Heartwood, the creature said, its voice now soft and melodic like the wind through the leaves. It is a sacred place where lost souls can find their way back to themselves, but it is also where we must confront our deepest fears. Alice stepped forward, feeling the weight of responsibility resting heavily on her shoulders. What do you mean? What fears? The fears that bind you, the creature replied, its form shimmering with a kaleidoscope of colors. Each path here leads to a different aspect of your spirit. To help Lila's brother, you must each face what you've been avoiding. Only then can you harness the true power of the Heartwood. Lila, feeling a flicker of determination within her, squeezed Alice's hand. I believe we can do it. Together. With a nod, Alice glanced at her companions, steeling herself for the journey ahead. Then let's do this together. As they stepped onto the first path, the air grew thick with anticipation. They soon found themselves in a clearing surrounded by mirrors that reflected not only their physical forms, but their inner fears and doubts. Pippin gazed into one and saw himself cowering in the shadows, too afraid to act when it mattered most. Pippin, Alice called gently, remember the times you've been brave. Think of all the times you've stood up for others. He took a deep breath, and the reflection began to shift, showing him standing tall, his heart filled with courage. I can't let fear control me, he whispered, determination igniting in his chest. Next, they moved to Lila's mirror, which displayed her brother's face, twisted in anguish, surrounded by shadows. I can't lose him, she said, tears brimming in her eyes. Fox stepped beside her, his voice steady and reassuring. But you must believe he's still with you, Lila. Your love can reach him, even in the darkest corners of the woods. At that moment, Lila's reflection transformed, showing her brother smiling, free from the shadows. The warmth of hope enveloped her, and she felt a surge of courage. Finally, Alice faced her own mirror. She saw a version of herself burdened by doubt and the weight of responsibility. "What if I fail?" she murmured, the fear wrapping around her like a cold shroud. "Then you will learn," Fox said softly. "You've already shown immense strength and compassion. Trust in your heart, Alice. It will guide you." With renewed conviction, Alice stepped closer to her reflection, and the mirror shimmered with radiant light. "I won't be afraid to try," she declared. As she spoke those words, the fear shattered like glass, and she felt a surge of warmth coursing through her. As the group continued to confront their fears, the Heartwood responded to their bravery. The once daunting path to Lila's brother began to reveal itself, the shadows retreating further at each step they took together. Suddenly, a distant song echoed through the woods, an ancient melody that tugged at their hearts. It was a call, a plea resonating with the love and strength they had discovered within themselves. They exchanged hopeful glances, understanding that it was Lila's brother, singing from the depths of his shadowy prison. "Let's go," Alice shouted, leading them forward, their voices harmonizing with the distant song. With each note they sang, the Heartwood came alive, guiding them toward the source of the melody, a magnificent clearing where Lila's brother was held captive, the shadows swirling around him like a storm. As they approached, the shadows began to writhe, sensing the power of their combined voices. "You can do it," Lila cried, stepping forward. "We're here for you." Together they sang with all their hearts, a song of unity and love that resonated through the woods. The shadows began to thin, revealing the figure of Lila's brother, his eyes reflecting both fear and hope. "Lila!" he called, his voice breaking through the darkness. "It's okay. We're here," she replied, her voice strong and unwavering. With each note, the shadows fell away, dissolving into wisps of light. The Heartwood pulsed around them, enveloping Lila's brother in a cocoon of warmth. Slowly he emerged from the darkness, his face shining with gratitude and love. As the group embraced him, the creature watched from a distance, its heart swelling with joy. The bond they had forged, through fear, through song, had transformed not only the woods, but also their very souls. "We did it," Alice whispered, tears of relief streaming down her cheeks. Together. And in the heart of the whispering woods, amidst the echoes of their triumphant song, they understood that love, unity, and the courage to face their fears had truly set them free. As the echoes of their triumphant song faded into the twilight, the scene around them transformed. The once dreaded whispering woods shimmered with newfound light, the trees adorned with blossoms that glowed like stars against the dusky sky. Lila's brother Jonah stood before them, his eyes filled with gratitude and a hint of wonder, still vibrant with the echoes of their melody. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice trembling with emotion. "I felt your song reach me even in the darkest shadows. I thought I would never escape." Alice stepped forward, her heart swelling with pride and relief. "You are free now, Jonah. But there is still work to be done. The shadows that held you captive have not vanished completely. They still linger, and we must help them find peace." Fox, with a thoughtful expression, nodded. "Indeed. The Heartwood has revealed its true nature as a place of healing, but the shadows are remnants of sorrow. They need our compassion, not just our strength." Pippin wagged his tail, a gleam of bravery in his eyes. "Then let's sing again. Our voices can lift the burden of their sorrow, just like it did for Lila and her brother." Lila, emboldened by the warmth of her friends, took a deep breath. "Yes, Let's help them. If they are in pain, then they need us just as much as we needed each other. Together they gathered in a circle, hands clasped, hearts aligned. The air was electric with anticipation, and even the shadows seemed to inch closer, curious and hopeful. With Alice leading once more, they began to sing, a song of understanding, a melody woven with threads of empathy and love. As their voices intertwined, the shadows started to shift. Tendrils of darkness unfurled like the mist, revealing the sorrowful forms of creatures who had long been trapped in their own despair. The figures swirled and flickered, their features becoming clearer with every note. Each creature was a reflection of a fear or a loss, and as they sang, the group could feel the weight of those emotions. Fox stepped forward, his voice a gentle beacon. "We see your pain. We understand that sorrow can feel insurmountable. But together, we can find the light again." As the song swelled, one particularly dark figure stepped closer. Draped in shadows, it bore a resemblance to the shadow creature they had once feared. Yet now it seemed more fragile, more vulnerable. Its eyes shone with unshed tears. "Why do you sing for us?" it rasped, its voice a haunting melody of despair. "We are the remnants of sorrow, bound to the darkness we've created. Because we know that even the darkest shadows can find light," Lila replied, her voice steady. "You are not alone. We faced our fears, and we can help you face yours." With every chorus, the shadows began to soften, transforming into beautiful shapes that danced around them, reflecting joy and longing. The shadow creature, its form now less menacing, began to shimmer like a silken veil, revealing glimpses of the vibrant colors hidden beneath. The group continued to sing, their melody rising higher, infused with hope. In that moment, the heartwood responded, sending a warm breeze that wrapped around them like a comforting embrace. The once ominous trees swayed rhythmically, joining their chorus. Suddenly, a burst of light erupted from the center of the clearing, illuminating the darkness with radiant colors. The shadows, once twisted in mourning, began to twirl and spin, their sorrow lifting like a forgotten mist. It was as though the very essence of the woods was rejoicing, awakening to the power of their song. As the final note lingered in the air, a profound silence fell. The shadows had transformed into luminous beings, each embodying a song of joy, their sorrow now transformed into gratitude. They circled the group, weaving around them like a tapestry of light. "Thank you, brave souls," the shadow creature said, its voice now gentle and rich. "You have shown us the way to healing. In your song we found our voices again." Alice smiled, her heart full. "We are all connected by our fears and our joys. Let us celebrate this unity." With that, the woods erupted into a magnificent celebration. The joyful beings twirled and danced, creating a symphony of laughter and music throughout the whispering woods. Lila, Jonah, Alice, Pippin, and Fox joined in, their hearts light with unspoken promises of friendship and courage. As they danced under the canopy of blossoming trees, the woods no longer felt haunted, but alive, vibrant, and filled with the promise of new beginnings. And in that moment, as the stars began to twinkle above like a chorus of light, they understood that the journey of confronting darkness and embracing joy was just beginning. Not just for themselves, but for every shadow that ever lingered in the Whispering Woods. As the vibrant colors of the Whispering Woods shimmered in the early morning light, a new day dawned with promise and renewed energy. Lila, Jonah, Alice, Fox, and Pippin stood together, their hearts still glowing from the victory over the shadows. The luminous beings floated around them, weaving through the branches like ethereal fireflies, each one a testament to the healing power of their song. "Look at how beautiful they are now," Alice whispered, her voice trembling with awe. The shadows that had once haunted her now danced gracefully in the sunlight, their forms shimmering with light and joy. "Yes," Fox replied, his wise eyes twinkling. "But remember, healing is a journey, not a destination. These beings need guidance to find their place in the world, just as we do." Lila nodded, her determination renewed. "We can't just leave them here. What if they get lost again in the darkness?" She looked at her brother Jonah, who had been silent since their triumph, his expression a mixture of relief and confusion. "Maybe they can help us too," Jonah finally spoke, his voice soft but steady. "If they found their way back, perhaps they know something about how to face our own shadows." As if sensing his words, the nearest luminous being floated closer, its glowing form shifting and pulsing like a heartbeat. It opened its mouth and a melody, sweet and haunting, filled the air. The song wrapped around the group, pulling at their hearts and inviting them to listen closely. "What do you think it's trying to say?" Pippin asked, tilting his head as he tried to decipher the enchanting notes. Fox stepped forward, his brow furrowing in concentration. "I believe it is offering a piece of wisdom. It speaks of a hidden glade deep within the woods, a place where the shadows and light converge. There, they say, lies a source of strength that can help us all." Lila's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Then we must find it. If we can uncover this source of strength, we can not only help the luminous beings, but also discover more about ourselves." Alice, still grappling with her insecurities, hesitated. "But what if we face more shadows? What if I can't handle them?" Pippin stepped beside her, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We faced shadows before, Alice. Remember how we sang together? We can face anything as a united front. And besides, you're braver than you think." With newfound resolve, the group agreed to embark on this quest for the hidden glade. The luminous beings fluttered around them, their light guiding the way as they ventured deeper into the whispering woods. The trees seemed to whisper secrets, their leaves rustling with curiosity as the group moved forward. After hours of walking, they reached a clearing bathed in silver moonlight, even though the sun was high above. A shimmering pool lay at the center, its surface reflecting the colors of the sky and the hues of the forest. But it was surrounded by shadows, darker and more solid than before, swirling ominously just beyond the edges. "This must be it," Lila breathed, her heart racing. "The place where shadows and light converge." Fox stepped forward, a knowing look in his eyes. "Remember, it's not about fighting the shadows. It's about understanding them." As they approached the pool, the shadows began to shift, taking on more defined shapes, figures of creatures lost and forgotten. Lila could see their eyes filled with sorrow and longing. "What do we do?" she asked, fear creeping back into her voice. "Sing," Fox urged, his own voice rising in harmony. "Sing to them as we did before." Gathering their courage, the group joined together, their voices blending in a beautiful melody once more, echoing through the clearing. The shadows began to still, drawn to the warmth of their song. Slowly, the faces of the creatures emerged, revealing their true forms, lost animals, misunderstood spirits, and even echoes of memories from the past. As the last note lingered in the air, the shadows transformed once again, shimmering and lifting away from the darkness. They merged with the luminous beings, creating a dazzling display of color and light that illuminated the entire clearing, casting away fear and despair. But as the transformation completed, Lila noticed something. One shadow remained, struggling against the tide of light. It was darker than the rest, with eyes that reflected despair itself. "Help me," it whispered, its voice a haunting echo of pain. Lila stepped forward, her heart racing. "What's your name?" she asked, gently feeling the pull of its sorrow. "Bram," it replied, the voice quivering with vulnerability. "I've been trapped for so long I don't know how to let go." Tears welled in Lila's eyes as she reached out, the warmth of her hand inviting. "You don't have to be alone anymore, Bram. We're here with you." As she spoke, the luminous beings began to circle around them, their light gently enveloping Bram. With the support of her friends and the radiant beings, Lila began to sing once more, a song of acceptance and healing. And in that moment, the forest held its breath, watching as shadows and light intertwined, a dance of redemption and hope. As the last notes of their song faded into the air, the glade pulsed with a gentle warmth, a testament to the healing that had just taken place. Bram, now shimmering with hints of light, lingered at the edge of the pool, hesitant to fully embrace the transformation that beckoned him. Lila sensed his turmoil and stepped closer, her heart open and steady. "Bram," she called softly, her voice carrying a blend of reassurance and empathy. "You don't have to face this alone. We're here for you." Jonah, standing a short distance away, clasped Alice's hand. He could see the flicker of doubt in Bram's shadowy form, and it mirrored his own fears. "Remember what we did together," he urged, taking a step forward. "You helped us find the strength to confront our shadows. Now it's time for you to let go of yours." Pippin, ever the optimist, added with a smile, "You're not just a shadow anymore, Bram. You're part of us now. You've got to trust that there's light within you." With every word, Bram's form wavered, the darkness swirling around him like a tempest. Fox, perched on a nearby branch, watched with keen eyes. "Healing is a journey," he advised. "It begins with acceptance. You were once a source of fear, but now you have the power to be a beacon of hope. Embrace it." Slowly, Bram's edges began to soften, the darkness retreating as glimmers of light danced within him. Lila took another step forward, her hand outstretched. "I won't let go of you," she promised, her voice steady and filled with love. "You're not alone anymore." As Bram hesitated, the group gathered closer, forming a circle of support. Alice, inspired by Lila's bravery, took a deep breath and stepped forward. "I was afraid too," she admitted, her voice trembling slightly. "But I've learned that strength isn't about being fearless. It's about facing fears together." With a gentle nod, Bram began to take small steps toward Lila's outstretched hand. As he did, the shadows around them began to sway, responding to the warmth of their unity. The air shimmered with anticipation, and the group joined hands, singing softly once more, a melody that spoke of acceptance and rebirth. The pool rippled as Bram's shadowy form began to dissolve, revealing flashes of brilliant colors within him. I want to be free," he confessed, his voice a blend of sorrow and hope. The shadows around the pool stirred, echoing his sentiment. "Then let go," Lila encouraged, her heart racing with both exhilaration and fear. "Let the light in. We're with you." With a final surge of courage, Bram stepped into the pool, the water glowing with a radiant light. As he submerged, the shadows erupted into luminous beams, swirling around the glade in a breathtaking display of colors. Lila, Jonah, Alice, Pippin, and Fox watched in awe as the energy transformed the glade, filling it with a vibrant radiance, erasing the remnants of their fears. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled and a beam of light shot upwards, mingling with the stars above. The trees began to sway gently, as if they were dancing to the rhythm of the joy that sprang forth from the heart of the forest. But the celebration was cut short when a low rumble echoed through the woods. The earth shook and dark clouds started to gather above, casting shadows over the newly illuminated glade. "What's happening?" Jonah shouted, his eyes wide with alarm. Fox's expression turned serious as he scanned the horizon. "Something stirs in the depths of the Whispering Woods. We need to be vigilant. The transformation we've witnessed may have awakened a force that thrives on fear." Lila felt a knot tighten in her stomach. "Then we need to face it together. We've come too far to let fear take hold again. We will protect this light we've created." With renewed determination, the group formed a tighter circle, ready to face whatever lay ahead. Deep within the woods, the shadows shifted ominously, the very fabric of the forest trembling in response. United by their bond and the light they had unleashed, Lila and her friends prepared for the next chapter of their adventure. A journey that would test their courage, challenge their unity, and ultimately reveal the true power of hope. As the vibrant light flickered and danced around them, the group felt a surge of exhilaration. The glade, once a realm of shadows, now pulsed with the warmth of their collective spirit. However, the dark clouds that loomed above served as a stark reminder that their journey was far from over. "What do you think is coming?" Pippin asked, his voice tinged with both curiosity and concern. He gazed upwards, watching the clouds swirl ominously, as if they were whispering secrets of an impending storm. Fox stepped forward, his deep eyes narrowing as he considered the brewing tempest. "Darkness often seeks to reclaim what light has touched. We must remain vigilant and prepared for what lies ahead. Remember, together we are stronger." Alice, still processing the transformation of Bram, felt a flicker of doubt creeping back in. "But what if I can't face it? What if I'm not strong enough?" Her voice trembled, and she instinctively stepped closer to Jonah, who offered her a reassuring smile. "Hey, we're all a little scared sometimes," Jonah said gently, placing a hand on her shoulder. "But look what we've accomplished so far. You've already faced your fears. We'll face whatever comes next as a team." Lila nodded, her spirit undeterred. "Let's not dwell on fear. Instead, let's focus on what we can do. If we stand together, we can shine brighter than any shadow." As if in response to Lila's words, the wind picked up, swirling around them and carrying the distant echo of a haunting melody. It beckoned them, intertwining with the dark clouds above, suggesting both a challenge and a call to action. "Do you hear that?" Bram asked, his voice steady yet filled with an undercurrent of worry. "It's as if the forest itself is warning us." The group listened intently, and as the tune grew louder, it became clear that it was not merely music, but a dirge, a lament of lost souls craving the light they had once known. Fox's expression shifted from contemplation to resolve. "We must discover the source of this music. It may hold the key to understanding the darkness that threatens us," he said, guiding them toward the sound. With renewed determination, the group ventured deeper into the Whispering Woods, where the trees grew taller and the shadows stretched longer. The path twisted and turned, leading them to a clearing where the air shimmered with an otherworldly glow. In the center stood an ancient stone altar, adorned with intricate carvings depicting the balance of light and dark. As they approached, the haunting melody intensified, wrapping around them like a warm blanket, but the shadows seemed to grow denser, creeping closer to the altar. Lila stepped forward, courage igniting her heart. "What do we do?" she asked, her voice steady despite the encroaching darkness. Fox studied the altar, noting the inscriptions. "It appears to be a call for restoration, a plea for unity between light and shadow. Perhaps if we sing together once more, we can bring forth the light needed to mend this rift." With a nod of understanding, the group positioned themselves around the altar. Lila took a deep breath while Pippin squeezed Alice's hand, offering silent encouragement. They began to sing, their voices rising in harmony, weaving a tapestry of hope that spilled into the air like golden threads. As their melody filled the clearing, the shadows hesitated, pulsating in rhythm with the song. The clouds above began to shift, revealing glimpses of the sun's radiant light. Yet the shadows were not easily swayed. They responded with a low, mournful wail, the lament of countless souls lost to despair. Bram, feeling the weight of his past, stepped forward, drawn to the shadow's sorrow. "I know this pain. It's a part of me, but it doesn't have to be the end. Let us help you find peace," he called out, his voice filled with empathy. To everyone's astonishment, the shadows paused as if considering his words. Slowly they began to reshape, shifting from menacing forms into figures of sorrowful beauty, lost souls seeking solace. Realizing they were witnessing a moment of transformation, Lila and the others sang even louder, pouring their hearts into the music. The shadows began to respond, their movements synchronizing with the rhythm, a dance of pain and healing. As the final notes echoed through the clearing, a brilliant light erupted from the altar, enveloping both the shadows and the group. It was a dazzling spectacle of colors, merging light and dark in a spectacular display of unity. In that moment, they understood. Healing was not about vanquishing the shadows, but embracing them, allowing light and dark to coexist in harmony. As the brilliance subsided, the once ominous clouds dispersed, revealing a clear sky. The group stood in awe, feeling the weight of their journey wash away, replaced by a sense of completion and hope. Yet they knew their task was not finished. There would always be more shadows to face and more light to uncover. But together, they were ready for whatever lay ahead. And as they shared smiles and laughter, the whispering woods seemed to hum with life, a testament to their unbreakable bond and the transformative power of love and acceptance.